This is a Global Original Podcast. This week we are celebrity heavy. But first, we were talking on one of my shows about the weather and weather manipulation. Some of the conversations you can hear on last week's podcast. And I got a request from a listener to have a few fewer kooks call me. Let's see how that went. Oh, well, just before I take this call, Ulrika emails, can you bring along some callers who can represent a reasonable and comprehensive argument? My ears are hurting. Well, let's see what this one's like. Croydon, Maxine.
Hello, my love.
Well, no is the answer to that question. Yes, Maxine.
There's no need for that, is there? Look, if I'd known I was coming on here for a maths lesson, my darling, I'd have rehearsed.
That's a good idea. Maybe I should rehearse.
Well, we've all got it wrong sometimes, my love.
Every now and again, yeah.
Well, I forgot what I was phoning for you. I've been on the line so long, I forgot what I was phoning.
Oh, really?
Stop whining.
Go ahead.
Can you remind me, my... Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, my darling. Now, did you see my text message last night?
No.
Oh, well, that's not surprising.
What?
I sent you a text message last night because I've been rehearsing in work, trying to gather you listeners, my love. I've been doing a survey.
Yeah. Survey says?
Yeah. Well, I've got you 5 extra listeners.
Right.
Right, but I've got you an extra 7 today.
Wow.
But the thing is, it did get me in a bit of a problem. Now, what happened was, I was in work yesterday. Now, you know your sound effects you do?
No.
You know them ones. The sound effects you make.
Sound effects?
No. You know the ones. Get off, you know, them ones.
I don't.
I don't want to talk to you, them ones. Right?
No.
Yes, you do.
You're hearing noises?
I'm all the time. Right. Yeah, the noises.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happened was, yesterday I was in work, and a bloke come up and he goes, can I have a coffee? And you know that you play that message, he goes, what? And then you go, no.
Yeah.
And then I went, thank you. And I got rid of him. And he goes to me,
and that got rid of him, did it? Well, I would have expected
he goes
just
to me,
that.
No. He goes to me, you listened to that Nick Abbot, didn't you? And I went, yeah, I do.
Yeah, and you went,
What?
Yeah. Yes. So today, I made a great mistake, my love. I done it just as my boss was walking in the shop.
It?
She walked in, and I went, what? No.
No.
What do I do, Nick? When the boss turns up and you've got the TV on watching a Christmas film.
Wait a minute, I'm going to sneeze.
No.
God, that's just so annoying.
Look, Nick, I've got to tell you something. I found my cat, Doris.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Where was it?
Yeah, no, out in the garden, my love.
The cat was in the garden? Well, that's where cats go.
Yeah. Eh?
Cats go in the garden. Well, I mean, they go in the garden, but they also go in the garden.
No, if they're a house cat.
Well, that is plain cruel. Keeping a house.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Keeping a cat in a house. It is. Cats don't want to be in a house. They want to be outside.
No.
Killing birds.
Now you're just pure cruel. Who's the guy on the radio on your side that likes the birds? You've got.
Well, that takes Steve Allen out of the question. Which one likes birds?
Yeah,
I don't know. Leave that with me, Maxine, and I'll figure that out. I'll have a full report on your desk first thing in the morning. But I think I got that right. Yeah. I don't know which it is, but I know which it isn't. Cheers, my dear. Fowad in Nigeria emails, you should ask Daniel to ask the HAARP weather manipulators what Scotland have done to deserve rain 24/7, 365 days a year. Well, it's not Scotland, it's just Glasgow. It's rainy on the west and cold on the east. See, Edinburgh, bloomin' freezing. Glasgow, always wet. Always. I grew up in Edinburgh. I know how cold it can get there. And I spent 3 months in Glasgow, and it rained every single day. Every day. I think it's rained every day since. Why does it always rain on me? It's because you're on the west. You get all the rain that doesn't fall on Ireland, which is, by the way, almost all of it. Child's Hill. Where's that, John? Child's Hill.
Hello, good evening. It's between Finchley Road, Swiss Cottage and Golders Green.
That's the first time I've ever heard of Child's Hill. Is that an area or a road?
Yes, it used to be a village. It's actually had a pub there, which now, believe it or not, has been converted into flats.
Yes, I believe it.
Called The Castle. It used to be where the toll gate was, and Dick Turpin used to drink there. That's the claim to fame. It's just down on the if you're going northwards, it's on the left-hand side down from West Hampstead.
Why is it called Child's Hill?
I have no idea whatsoever.
Right.
No idea.
Well, someone should look into it.
Of the people around here.
Yeah.
Yes, I was inspired to call from a conversation you were having with the very famous tinfoil hat wearer, Mr. Daniel. I'm not sure it was a wise choice because, unfortunately, I have something that's slightly agreeing with part of what he said. Nothing to do with frequencies. I have no idea what he's going on about. And I think manipulation is a word that certainly starts to make you think of conspiracies and HAARP and all that stuff. But I was living in Thailand back in 2002, and it was suffering from a very bad drought in the south. And there was some physical process that they did where they fired negative ions into the ionosphere to create rain clouds, and as a result, they ended the drought.
Well, I thought they could they could seed clouds with some sort of, I don't know, glitter or something like that, and so they could make clouds heavier so that the rain would fall. I mean, the Russians have done that, and I think the Chinese tried to disperse clouds, didn't they, for the Olympics? So you can manipulate it, but I think you can do it physically rather than squirting ions into the atmosphere or some such thing.
I'm not sure. I'm not a scientist. All I remember was...
You're not? Oh, well, then we don't wish to... We only want to speak to scientists on this programme, I'm afraid, John.
Absolutely.
You should have been
about
told
feelings.
that.
I was according to you. I've been at your college for several years now, and I thought it was all about feelings now. Maybe I'm mistaken.
No, we only deal in facts on this programme, I'm afraid.
Well, I read on the internet that a guy called Johnson has become Prime Minister, but obviously I wouldn't believe
Nonsense.
anything like that.
No such thing would ever happen. You're making it up.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Well, I'm going to go off and shoot myself.
Okay. Let me know how that works out for you. Thanks a lot, mate. He's going to go and shoot himself. He just can't take it anymore. This says, I've listened to this show for 3 years, and I used to be happy. Now I live in despair, hearing all the angry, lost, and moronic people calling you all the time. Please tell me it will get better. I'm only 24, and I have to live my life through all of this. He's 24 years old, or she, sexist. What do you mean, moronic people? Which people are you... Oh, yeah, right, I see. Mm-hmm. I remember now. Those people. This says, can you tell me that did China go to the moon? Can you tell me that did China go to the moon? China. Did they go to the moon? Why are you asking me that? Nobody went to the moon. In fact, spoiler alert.
Warning, warning.
The moon doesn't actually exist. It's a projection. Did you know that? Yeah, I read it on the internet. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @lbc. Here's the only thing I learned in psychology. When the moon is on the horizon, it looks bigger. And do you know what that illusion is called? It's called the moon illusion. That's the only true thing you've heard on this show. And that is the only true thing you've heard on this show is the second true thing you've heard on this show. Coming up, David Bowie and HAARP. Not that kind of harp.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
Yes, here's one in Newcastle. Hello, Dave.
Beep, 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 beep. Nick, I have the answer to the mystery of the Bowie question.
Well, this is what we were talking about last night. How do you pronounce David Bowie? Yeah. Bowie, Bowie,
Bowie or Bowie? Listen carefully. I shall play this only once.
You'll only get the chance.
Shut up, Bowie. Okay.
Bowie. So that was David Bowie saying Bowie. But I think as David Bowie has also said Bowie. He's was an enigma. Still, best death ever. Mike emails, the stuff that comes out of the back of planes is a chemical that gives everyone a cold or flu if it comes out of a jumbo jet. It's done by the pharmaceutical industry to keep their billion-dollar industry going. It was developed during the Vietnam War, and that's why it's called Asian flu. I know it's true. I read it in, well, Who'da Thunk It magazine. Or was it the Beano? I heard it was napalm. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I wonder if scriptwriters, when they write something that becomes a worldwide hit, essentially, that people repeat and will always say ad infinitum, forever, I wonder if they get a sense that, hey, you know what, I really nailed it there. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. What a great line. This says, with so many callers having trouble with maths, maybe we need to recount the... I've read that. Child's Hill. Oh, OK. Information, which will fit right in on this show, only if it's inaccurate. Child's Hill, says Sheila, took its name from Richard Le Child, who in 1312 held a customary Huse, Huse. What? See, I knew it was too good to be true. Child's Hill took its name from Ricard Le Child, who in 1312 held a customary Huse and 30 acres of its area, found it via Wikipedia. Well, that makes perfect sense. Thanks, Sheila. Here's Wandsworth. Let's see see what this one's like. Rana.
Hello?
Yes, Rana.
I wanted to go back to the HAARP project.
The HAARP project, yes. HAARP. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm usually not a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that it has the capability to produce changes in the atmosphere. It has the capability to produce lightning.
You believe that, but why do you believe it? Because you read it on Facebook.
No, I've read about it, and because several
but where did you read about it?
On the project have also.
Where did you read about it, Rana?
I read about it on the Alaska University website, who own it, and they have a full description of its capabilities.
Nonsense. The Alaskan University does not own HAARP.
They partly run it. The U.S. Air Force own it, but it has been transferred to Alaska University to operate it and do research.
Alaska University said that they're using it to squirt ions up the atmosphere to change the weather.
No. That's not what they said. It's mainly used for research in the ionospheric layer of the atmosphere, and in order to produce a more accurate radio signal transmission.
Yeah.
But over the years, its capabilities have developed, and that it has the ability to produce flooding.
Yeah, I seriously doubt that. But you keep researching, Rana, and as soon as you come up with any actual facts, I want you to let me know straight away, all right?
Of course, you'd be the first to know.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'll look forward to that. This says, did Wet, Wet, Wet used to live in Glasgow? Yes, they did. Why does it always rain on me? Wet, Wet, Wet's a Glaswegian band. And that other song, I'm only happy when it rains, that's a Glaswegian band as well, whose name I can't remember. I used to play them over and over and over and over and over again.
Boring!
In a different life. You know, if I wasn't playing REM, I'd be playing that blooming band. That's why I can't listen to REM anymore, like, at all. And same goes for most of Blondie's catalogue. I mean, Hanging on the Telephone, that'll always be great.
Rock and roll!
Other than that. Fade Away and Radiate, that's a good one. Other than that. I'm in the phone book, it's the one across the hall. That'll never get old. Robin Chadwell Heath says, the moon does exist. Pfft, rubbish. But the phases are controlled by a global arrangement to periodically fire billions of frequencies at it, en masse, until it disappears. Well, that makes sense. When they agree to start again, frequencies are released from nearby satellites to reverse the effects. Why is nobody debating this? That's a good point, Rob. Why is nobody debating this? Hello? Here's a call in Newcastle. Bernard.
Good evening and good morning.
Yes, Bernard.
Would you believe that when the old common market started, that all false teeth were made in Luxembourg?
All false teeth were made in Luxembourg?
When the old common market started in 1957.
Right.
Did you know that?
It rings a vague bell. I don't know whether I know that
or not. It's amazing how often that comes up as a quiz question.
Yes.
Can I tell you a true story from, it was, I think, 1980s. It was the year Newcastle got promoted with Kevin Keegan playing for them.
Okay.
We were in central London near Tottenham Court Road and we were playing Charlton away later in the season. This was the game 34 or something. We're 7 points ahead with 7 games to go after the game. We got this taxi on the way to Charlton and we got so far and the taxi driver suddenly stopped. He says, I'm not going any further, I've got a puncture. So there was 5 of us in the back. One lad got out and went to a pub because he needed the toilet. The other 4 of us got out to start changing his wheel. It's a bit like Formula 1, but in slow motion, the old-fashioned way, with somebody on the jack, somebody on the sort of getting the nuts unloosened, somebody collecting them. Mm-hmm. And when eventually put the wheel back on, we put the duff one away behind. We go up, put it in. He still had the meter running. He still had the meter running. Wow. He hadn't stopped the meter.
The nerve.
Yeah. That's a true story. I could tell you another horrible true story involving a suicide that you could laugh at the end of it.
No thanks.
Oh, no. I was there on the night it happened in Darlington.
Well, I don't want to hear a story about suicide. That doesn't sound like a happy story.
No, when I went to work on the railway...
But you're going to tell it me anyway, aren't you? I just told you I don't want to hear it.
No. It just goes to show because people used to go to the railways and they never came back from work on that night. It happened. The average age that people were dying who did the sort of lots of weekend shifts on the railways was 54. They never got past that. They contributed to their pension all those years and they got nothing of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to say something about
is that the funny part? Was that the funny part at the end there? Because I must have missed that.
No. That was a good. I want to say something about how the general election was run.
Okay.
The Tories persuaded some opposition parties to go for a general election, and once the SNP and the Lib Dems were persuaded to vote for it, Jeremy Corbyn was forced to concede because it would look silly, the Labour Party not going for it. But
it's a good job they don't look. It's a good job they don't look silly now.
Yeah. Well, the Tories ran the general election as a second EU referendum. That's why they didn't talk about policies. It was always get Brexit done.
Get Brexit done. 3-word slogan.
The opposition parties ran it as a general election campaign.
Correct.
So it's a bit like the opposition parties were using a gun that you have to reload after every single shot. Mm-hmm. And the Tories had access to either machine guns or rifles with laser guidance.
Yeah.
So one side is going to get massacred.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, alternative, you're playing football where one side's wearing wellies and the others are wearing proper football boots.
Maybe that's what we should do to Liverpool. Make them play in wellies, just to even it up a bit.
The snag is there's some teams that still lose against them.
Yes, that's true, yeah. Yeah, they'd still lose. Coming up, a brush with a randomly kind celebrity. Chesham, hello, Andy.
Are you talking to me?
Well, I don't see anybody else here.
Oh, sorry, Nick. I didn't know that. No one sort of got in front, and said, "Oh, you've got to go on next."
Oh, I see. Shall I put you on hold?
No, I've got a great question to ask you.
Andy, are we on speakerphone?
Yeah, I am.
Oh my God!
But I've got the radio switched off.
Oh well, that's okay then. We're halfway there. Go ahead.
Right, I'll speak a bit closer. I've had an amazing day, Nick.
Amazing.
I've had yeah.
What, like science fiction?
Almost. I mean, I really think that we should believe in Atom Rand's. What was it she said to me? She said, random acts of kindness.
Yeah, random acts of kindness.
Yeah, and she gave me a bunch of flowers.
Who did?
It was,
some random actor.
No, it was quite a famous. I think she's quite a famous American comedian.
Well, okay. Well, now I'm curious. Who gave you a bunch of flowers? What was the name of this famous American comedian?
I think her name was. All that keeps going through my head is Ruby.
Ruby Wax.
And I cannot think of her second name. But
Wax.
I've seen her on the TV.
Listen to me.
Sorry.
Ruby Wax.
Yes, that's the one. Well done.
Ruby Wax.
Correct.
Ruby Wax gave you a bunch of flowers?
Yes. Through the window of my... Well, I hate to say this because it just get people turning off through the front of me cab or whatever. And I know where you all feel about us. But
all right, well, talk us through it, Andy. So you were sitting in your cab, minding your own affairs.
No, I wasn't. I was driving along Bloomsbury.
I got that wrong, didn't I? Yeah, Bloomsbury.
Sorry, I was driving along Bloomsbury. I saw this wonderful bus, a lovely bus with all.
Are you
flowers.
saying bust or bus? Bus. Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful bust.
And
go on.
A wonderful, but it was painted with all lovely flowers and everything. And she jumped off the bus.
Yeah.
With a bunch of these flowers, and I was at the lights, and she came running up. She put them through the window, and she said to me, "Atom Rands of kindness."
Right.
And I looked at her, and I thought, "Is that woman from America?" I thought, "It can't be."
Yeah.
I thought,
she hit you with a flower like Velvet Underground.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to be honest with you. It's one of the nicest things that's ever happened to me.
Vicious.
While I've been driving.
Actually, it wasn't Velvet Underground, was it? That was just he himself.
Well, I've got to be honest. It's got to be better than being spat at when you're driving along the embankment.
Yes. Yeah, I would think
by
so.
Those young kids,
cyclists.
You know, the kids who pull the wheels up and they drive along the embankment. They drive past your car and they spit at you. So, as far as I'm concerned, it was a result.
Yeah.
But what it did do, to be honest with you, Nick, it made me feel fantastic, and it made me want to go and do something nice for someone else.
Right.
And
well, always get their permission before you do something nice to somebody.
Well,
keep your hands to yourself. So, what kind of flowers were they?
No, but do you know what I mean? You know when...
No, I don't know what you mean. Andy, what kind of flowers were they?
Oh, they were pink roses.
Oh, pink, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's not my colour, but to be honest with you, I like... My mum loves roses.
Yeah.
I brought them home. I told her the story. She's 89.
She said, a likely tale.
Yeah, so it was... I mean, I don't even think she believed me when I told her.
Well, I don't believe you, if that's any help.
Nick, truthfully, what I did do was it inspired me to go and do something else. It inspired me to go and do, like, another...
random act of kindness. Yes, spread the smile around. So what did you do?
Well, it started off a bit wrong. Because I was driving down the Strand and I brought what's it? One of those papers off of the fellas. The
big issue.
You know, yeah, I bought the big, but I gave him £3. But I used to think they were only £2. But anyway, so I gave him the £3. He gave me the paper. Really, what I should have done was just give him the £3 and not took the paper.
Right.
But that was.
But that would be insulting, see, because that's just charity. He's running a business there.
Well, whatever. But then I drove a lovely old boy who was going to meet his mate at St John's Church, which is Smith Square, and the fare come to £11. And when he got out, I told him the same story I've told you, and I said, "Have that one on me. Have that one on." But I couldn't remember her name. I said, "That American comedian, you know the one." But and then I drove in, and then I was so lucky because I picked up another lovely fella at Parliament Square. He was going home. I think he was going out to Broadstairs, and he was going out to Broadstairs where he lived, and he worked as. I won't tell you who he worked for.
Who did he work for?
He worked for the...
IBM, the CIA, the Roman Catholic Church. Who was it?
He was a political analyst.
Oh, well, that sounds fascinating.
Boring!
Well, he worked for the... No, he wasn't. He weren't boring.
Right.
He was
I must have been thinking of somebody else.
Well, no, he wasn't.
So did you spread a smile all over him too?
We talked about loads of things, but what we...
Now, when you say... Can I just ask you a question about this? When you say, as a black cab driver, when you say we talked about lots of things, do you mean that you talked and he listened?
No, we both talked.
Right.
We talked about loads of different things.
I don't mean to be insulting, Andy, but you know the best thing that they ever invented on a cab?
I'm not that sort of cab driver.
Oh.
I only talk to people who want to talk.
Yeah, but you know the best thing that they ever invented on a cab?
No.
That button, that button in the back that shuts the driver up.
Well,
the button in the back that shuts the driver up. I don't mean to be insulting when I say that.
No, it's reciprocal, isn't it? You've got to have a brain on your head, and you can know someone don't want to talk or whatever.
Well, you have a button you can shut me up, so it's only fair.
No, I wouldn't, Nick, because
because of Ruby Wax. We're spreading the happiness around. Thank you, Ruby. We appreciate it. And that was a red letter day. Thanks a lot, Andy. I've got to go. Cheers, mate.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, ta-da, mate. Can you take me down to Brixton at this time of night? I'll assume that the answer is no. See, that happiness only goes so far. Not past Stockwell. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're Ruby Wax, then you'll get put straight through. Yes, straight through, Ruby. No waiting. And that's it. If you subscribe to this podcast, you'll find the next episode is squirted up your life as though by magic on Mondays. And don't forget the podcast that I do with Carol McGiffin called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? If you would like Carol McGiffin and I to have a bash at your problems, then tell us what they are. Nick and Carol at global.com. That's NICKANDCAROL at global.com. And I'll be back on the radio on Friday and Saturday night at 10. And until then, LB seeing you.
Bye-bye.